was this plastic surgeon in Germany. And he was reconstructing people's faces when they had a scar. He would do all the things needed to make their face healthy again. In his work, he made a very interesting discovery. So, some patients came to him and let's say they had a scar on their face, and he would do the medical procedure. He would change the scar, he would remove the scar, and he would notice that there was a huge change in personality within a patient. So maybe before, when the patient had a scar, they would be a little bit angry or sad, or they would have like a resting sad face, right? But after the surgery, after the plastical surgery procedure, all of a sudden their face would light up. Their face would start getting like smiley, their eyes would get different, they would open up, and they would start being a completely different person. Now, this wasn't something unexpected, because when you change someone's appearance in a big way, especially think about if you have a scar on your face, then naturally they are going to change their behavior. They are going to change how they view themselves, and they are going to change how they view the world. What was so interesting about Maxwell Maltz's discovery is that some patients came to him with a huge scar. He removed that scar, and their personality didn't change at all. They stayed exactly the same. Angry, bitter, sad. So the discovery that he made was that not only is there an outside image that you have of yourself, not only do people have this outside image of what we see in the mirror, but there is a bigger thing, more important thing inside you. And this is your self-image. Self-image is the way you view yourself. Think about it, because if it was purely objective, all the people who get scars removed from their face should start feeling better and behaving differently, more positively. But because the image isn't outside, it's inside, it's how they view themselves. The change in personality only appeared in the patients who not only changed their outside appearance, their outside image, but their self-image, the one that's inside, the one that's actually deciding your behaviors, the way you work, the way you interact with other people, and so on. So the definition of self-image is the way you view yourself. But it's not the way you view yourself in the mirror, it's the way you think about what type of person you are. Whether you think you are someone who is disciplined and organized, whether you see yourself and you think about yourself as someone who is attractive or not attractive, someone who is good with other people or someone who's bad with other people, someone who is charismatic or maybe a little bit anxious and awkward. And the thing is, everything that we will discuss today is about your own self-image. It's within you, and it's up to you to change it, because you can change your self-image and you don't need a plastic surgery for that. The thing is, self-image is the automatic system that decides your behavior, because you are going to behave according to how you see yourself, how you perceive yourself, how you think about yourself. So when we change the way you think about yourself, when we change your self-image, when we change the way you look at yourself, your behavior will transform without recognition. It will become completely different. It's the secret component successful people know about, because it makes discipline, effort, and the things people believe are hard in pursuing your goals and building your freedom easy. Because all of a sudden, it's not about pushing yourself into being disciplined. It's not about pushing yourself to go to the gym. It's not about pushing yourself to work on the business. It just becomes a part of your personality. You start seeing yourself as the type of person who goes to the gym, who builds the business, and all of a sudden, all that tension and all that friction and that difficulty you feel when you have to do something, it disappears, because it's just who you are. There is no difference between the activity and your personality. I will tell you exactly how to build your perfect self-image in 3 easy steps, so that you can define who you want to be and let that manifest in your day-to-day life. The first step is, we need to discover what your self-image is right now. So I want you to sit down with a piece of paper and think about the way you view yourself. think about the way you behave, think about the way you view your appearance, your personality, your skills. Now, this one is going to be a little bit harsh. It might sting, but we need to feel that pain. I need you to be really honest with yourself here, because most people will say, I have a great self-image, I think I'm confident, and so on. I don't want you to look at the thoughts. I don't want you to look at the things that you say. I want you to look at your behaviors. Look at your behaviors, and from there, look at the type of self-image that you have. Okay, so for an example, if you eat junk food regularly, if you have trouble sticking to your diet, would you say that this self-image is of someone who is healthy and attractive, or unhealthy and not attractive, right? So, because most people say, I have a great self-image. That's actually not true, but because your behavior shows us otherwise. So look at your behaviors, look at the things you do, and then from there, put it on paper. Tell me, write down, and more importantly, tell it to yourself, this is the type of person that I am based on my behaviors right now. So this is your current self-image. Let's write down and put on paper the old self-image, the one that kept you stuck, the one that kept you eating the junk food and putting on weight, the one that made you settle for less when it comes to your relationships, the one that prohibited you from asking about a raise in your work, the one that stopped you from starting the business, the one that stopped you from asking that beautiful girl out or asking that handsome man out, right? This one, because that's the saboteur, that's someone who's sabotaging your growth right now. So let's write it down and think about all these examples, okay? All of these behaviors. How do you behave in a new environment? How do you deal with new people? How do you deal with a new challenge that comes up at work? All of those things are going to play a massive role in your future development. So first, let's get you right on what this old self-image is, the one that we're going to have to kill, the one that we're going to have to remove from your life, so that we can make place for the new self-image of your higher self, of your better self. It's the one that keeps you always buying the cheapest things because you don't feel like you deserve the better things. It's the one that told you that you can't go on trips or go to nice restaurants because you don't have enough money. And think about how much your life is worse because of that self-image. Think about of what your life would be like if you didn't have that shitty, terrible self-image. How would that improve the quality of your life? What kind of choices would you make? But also, just go into the future. How will your life look like if this self-image stays with you for the next 20 to 30 years? Think about your relationships, think about your health, think about your work. All of those things are going to depend on your self-image. That's why it's so crucial right now to be honest with yourself. The second one is where we actually start building the new self-image. It's time to design your new self, your higher self, your best self. And we're going to do that like an architect designs a building, like an engineer designs a perfect car, because you are important, you matter. So let's make that into something that we can actually take action on. I want you to think about this super version of yourself, the one that has achieved all of your goals and fulfilled all of your dreams, the one that has all the things you've always wanted to have, that lives in the city you've always wanted to live in, and that has that romantic life that you've always wanted to have, that friend circle, okay? Think about that person, visualize that person, and see them, see how they behave. Try to get into the mind of that person. Now, once you do that, so you're thinking about your higher self, your super version, right? The one that has already achieved all of those things. Now, write down and put it on paper the qualities and the self-image that this person has. How does this person view themselves? How do they approach their health? How do they approach their diet? What sort of foods do they eat? How do they approach their work? What sort of work do they do, right? How do they approach their appearance? What sort of clothes do they wear? How do they treat other people? And how do they behave throughout the day? How do they feel, right? What sort of car do they drive? The important thing here is the more details you put into it, the faster it will come to you, because you'll be able to understand your super version better. You'll be able to understand how he is thinking, how he's behaving, how he's moving, and you will be able to replicate that movement and become that person, because the universe will give you whatever vibe and energy you give to it. So if all of a sudden you give the vibe and energy of your best self, the universe is going to give you what your best self has, not the things that your current self has. That's why we defined your old self-image, because we need to kill that. We need to remove it. We need to build the new version, the version that has all the things you have, so that you can behave in that way, and that you can get those things. Key point here is define it with a pencil, because this is your piece of work, your art, your creation. So when you define something with a pencil, you can always go back and change it. It's not set in stone. It's not forever. Your self-image might change depending on where you are right now in life and where you want to be. It might also change based on the things that you're going to accomplish. So you'll achieve a goal, you will see that, oh wow, I've accomplished this goal. I got my business to $5,000 per month. I got my business to $10,000 per month. And then all of a sudden you might go, maybe I don't want to make more money, or maybe I want to make much more money. You will be listening to yourself, and you will be on the same vibratory frequency as your higher self. So you will be thinking about what would my best self want? And you'll be able to bring that into the present. And I feel like that's the piece that has been missing for your growth, probably, because you feel like you need to push, like you need to extend effort to do all of those things. And I would just tell you, all the people you see who are successful, who seem to have all the things you have, they are not pushing themselves. They just have the self-image that allows them, right? Because they've put in the details, they made it right. They thought about the person and they just started behaving like that person. They made an actual decision. And that's where we go into step 3. Remember what I said, they made a decision. So you've defined your old self, the one that kept you stuck, the one that kept you at the current level where you are at. Now, we said we will need to kill that image, right? Second, we, like Michelangelo building David from the stone, we've designed your new self-image, your super version, your higher self, your best self. So we designed that person, we thought about their behaviors, we thought about how they approach different areas of life. Now, step 3 is, it's time to make a decision, man. It's time to stop letting that old self-image control you. So we need to make a decision to kill that old self-image, the one that kept you where you were at, unhappy, miserable, depressed, and not satisfied. And it's time we made a decision to become and embody that best self, that super version of yourself. And what's so beautiful about it, it's free. Like, you don't have to pay anything to start behaving like the best version of yourself. It's completely like, you don't have to go and get anyone's permission. You don't have to ask people for permission. You don't need a crowd of people applauding you and clapping for you. Yeah, let's go. No, none of that. And do not expect that. It's you who decides that. Okay? Now, when you make that decision and you start getting into that frequency, into that energy of your best self, then other people will come around. But do not expect them to be there for you right now, because your old self-image, it's probably too weak to attract the people that you want in your life. It's probably not on the same level as the people you want to have in your life. So let's change it. Let's kill the old one. Let's build the new one, step by step, action by action. And from here on forward, every decision that you make, every behavior that you are doing throughout the day, what I want you to be thinking about is, what would my super version do here? What would my best self do here? How would my best self approach this situation? right? And all of a sudden, you can be very accurate with the things that you do. Just because you're taking it out of yourself, you will not be emotional, you will not have this narrow vision on who you are. You'll be thinking about, what would my best version do, right? If you are John, what would Super John do here, right? What would Super Mark do here? What would Super Mary do here? You can ask yourself and you can think about, they would probably do this, and that, right? So you're immediately have this framework for making perfect decisions each day, for building the routines and habits that are going to create that person. And that's the visual that I want you to have. Think about Michelangelo, David. You've seen the sculpture, probably one of the most popular sculptures in the world. David was a block of marble, a block of stone, right? Now, what I want you to do is think of yourself as the sculptor, as Michelangelo. And he was, from that block of marble, he was bam, bam, hitting it, right? Each little hit eventually led to him creating one of the most popular, most beautiful sculptures that there is, creating David, right? But in the beginning, it was just a block of marble. You are that block of marble right now, but you're also the sculptor. So I want you to be sculpting it step by step, hit by hit, and uncover that was already there, because it is there. David was in the stone of marble. It just needed someone to uncover it. And you are the block of marble for yourself, but you're also that sculptor who's going to uncover it step by step, day by day. Start where you are and grow.